Welcome to Dickinson College. While there is an awareness on many of the diverse students' population struggles, less attention is paid to those who have to overcome the physical accessibility obstacles on campus. How many have stopped to think of the long journey when approaching the hub building from the east? The only access ramp requires traveling from the east entrance stairs around the building to the entrance from Britton Plaza, a journey that took us 3 minutes. As part of our investigation, we spoke to members of the campus community for their thoughts on accessibility. Some sentiments were common, such as those from Professor Webb.
It is an extremely important issue that doesn't have a lot of visibility.
And those from Ling Nguyen, a student from Vietnam.
From an international student standpoint, we don't talk about those stuff back home, so that's why we don't talk about it here. That's why we don't realize that it is actually a problem.
My sense in general is that not only Dickinson College, but contemporary American culture in general treats questions of diversity primarily through the lens of gender or race and maybe sexuality.
Students brought to our attention important points regarding accessibility on campus, highlighting factors that we were not aware of.
We lack a lot in accessibility for deaf and hard of hearing people. A lot of our spaces are very narrow.
We asked Director of ADS, Marty Jones, to comment on what makes a space accessible for hearing impaired students.
Better lighting. There's some types of paint that is better than others in terms of visibility. Wider is better, because if you can imagine two people walking next to each other who are talking don't need as much space as two people walking next to each other who are signing.
So I've broken the law in the past inadvertently, that we are required by law every time we show a video in class to show a video with subtitles, because students who are deaf would otherwise not be able to hear it.
Some of the older buildings have an abundance of stairs on all ends, but an elevator only on one end.
Some buildings I definitely notice are clearly more accessible than others.
Students agree with this sentiment.
I see a lot of my friends who have difficulty walking, but they still have to climb so many steps.
It's important to note that accessibility remains an issue outside of buildings as well.
But I wouldn't say that this is an easy campus to navigate for someone in a wheelchair.
Some of our curb cuts were not well cut. He felt like he had to pop a little wheelie to get, and that's totally unsafe. So if no one's using a wheelchair to get through those curb cuts and doesn't know that that's problematic, then they're not going to know, right?
We wondered how we can explain these shortcomings.
Steps that people take to make things more accessible and the underlying norms that remain inaccessible. So we often have a situation where people are actually taking a lot of overt steps to increase accessibility, but they're still not really succeeding.
Even the newest building on campus, certified LEED Platinum for energy and environmental design, has its own complaints about overly heavy doors that are hard to open.
Some of these complaints could be addressed by including ADS in decision-making.
I would like to have a more prominent seat at the table when there's decisions being made about construction, and
While ADS has made strides in promoting inclusivity on campus, Dickinson College still has a long way to go.
Where I needed ADS's help when it came to a disability, and they were able to help me effectively. Without ADS personally, I don't think that problem would have ever been resolved. I feel like Dickinson does provide that comfort for me to be able to be mobile, if that makes sense. Accepted, I would say no, only because it's just a personal thing.
Of the struggles of those with need of accommodation, perhaps with new information, a new perspective, more educated choices can be made about what the college can do to improve both today and in the future. Thank you.